Hey, yo. This is the Fantasy Chairmen podcast, and I am Ben.
And I'm Chance.
And no Alex. Again, if you heard the league note last week, there was no Alex. There is no Alex again. It's me and Chance.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, goodness. Alex losing out on podcast opportunities like he's losing out in the big league.
Yes, he is.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
Just kidding, Alex. We know you're working. It's okay. We'll have you back soon.
And I'm in the same boat as you in the big league, so.
Yeah. You guys suck.
Hey. You got one win finally?
I was the highest scoring team in the league this week. So,
This week.
boom.
This week. It'll change next week.
3 weeks in the books, man.
Yeah?
3 weeks down. That's like almost a fourth of the season. Of the entire NFL season. Regular season.
Almost. I mean,
it's not.
It's 18 weeks down. I hope you remember that.
It's not quite, but you know, it's fine. Yeah. So some crazy stuff. We saw some superstars kind of come back to relevance, though.
Yeah. Finally.
Like Josh Allen.
Yeah. It was good to see him actually put up big points this week like everyone expected him to.
Went nuclear. We saw some so far superstars kind of come back down to earth a little bit, like Daniel Jones. Still had a decent week.
Yeah, just bad offensive line. So
It's just the Giants.
Yeah, the usual Giants thing.
Yeah. So, you know, we're seeing some trends start to be created now, though. Matt, the Fantasy Squatch, talked about it yesterday in his Stock Watch episode that, you know, 2 weeks is like okay, keep paying attention, but then 3 weeks makes a trend. And we are certainly starting to see some trends for some guys, and you're going to be wanting to pay attention.
Yeah.
I believe if the fantasy footballers talked about it today, where this is that time of the season where the average draft position or their draft capital, where you took them at the beginning of your season, pretty much goes out the window.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, now I need to start making moves to get some wins for my team.
Yes. I'm in that point right now with my big league, so.
You and Alex both. I'm feeling that way about my running back position, but feeling good about my wide receivers. So if anybody in our league is listening, if you want to send some running backs for some wide receiver help, I'm all ears.
That actually goes for me too, because my running backs are not playing up to par like they should be right now.
That is just kind of the way that I think most leagues are looking right now. It's a little bit scary. We're going to go through the top 10 of each position through 3 weeks after we get into some news and notes. And then we'll do a recap of week 3, and then we'll jump into a preview of week 4. And we'll see if we can be a little more lightning than Alex and I are. give our quick takes on the preview and get them out of here. But
we'll see how that goes. Our league notes last week also went a little longer than they were supposed to.
You know what? It's just great talking football. Great talking football.
You always got to love talking football.
And we don't do an episode every day, so
we get it all out with you guys.
That's right. The main episode for sure is going to be a little bit longer each week. That's just the way it is.
It just happens.
Then we have our little side episodes that we have been putting out recently. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the Sasquatch Stock Watch. And if you jump in and listen to our league notes, hopefully you enjoy that. And hopefully I've helped you out in at least a couple of spots in the quick hit start sits. Hopefully. I know I was wrong on a couple of them.
That's going to happen every week, though.
Process over results, so people. Process over results. Sometimes you just can't see what happens in the NFL happening.
Yeah. The first couple of weeks are definitely a couple weird weeks, so hopefully they'll start being a little more accurate
to
now.
say the least. To say the least. Well, Chance, you got some news pulled up over there?
I do.
All right, let's get into some news.
And now it's time for your NFL news.
So Josh Gordon has been reinstated, passed his physical, and signed his contract with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Josh Gordon back at it again. Dude, I really, really hope that he can actually stay in this time.
I hope so, man.
The dude was a fantasy superstar when he was first in the league back in, was it 2013? It was not that long ago, was it?
I don't know if it was that long ago, but it's been a while.
For some reason, the year 2013 popped in my head, but I don't know if it's been that long.
I don't know if it's been that long, but he's back. He's with the Chiefs. I mean, even when he came back all those other times, he'd have those good weeks, and now he's kind of on a team where, you know, the passing's going to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, so it'll be interesting to see what they try to do with them.
Bro, 2012 was his rookie year.
Oh, so even farther back.
2013, I got it, was the year where he was the number 1 wide receiver in standard scoring and the number 3 wide receiver in PPR scoring.
Oh, wow.
He was an animal.
Back then.
He was an animal in 2013, and since then, he's just been in and out, man.
Well, he's back, got a little bit of rest, so...
We'll see if maybe there can be a second relevant wide receiver for the Chiefs now.
We'll see. I mean, we see him for a couple weeks, and then they kind of go off, and it's just Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Pretty much.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
Other news, the Colts and running back Marlon Mack agreed to mutually seek a trade. So Marlon Mack possibly going outside of Indianapolis.
Interesting. He was inactive for this game last week, so he's probably feeling a little frustration there.
Yeah.
Still don't really know what he can do coming off the torn Achilles.
Yeah, we haven't really seen him ever since that happened. I mean, he
hasn't had much opportunity.
He was a good running back before that. So, I mean, I hope he gets the opportunity to kind of show that again and see if he can run on his legs still. It would
be a really good gauge to see what would happen with him for Cam Akers.
Yeah.
You know. So we can maybe have an idea. If we see like a Marlon Mack come back and actually be explosive, have a good year, if he were to get traded somewhere and be the number 1 guy, it'd be good to see him so that we can all have a good idea of like, oh, okay, what can Cam Akers do maybe coming back? Because that's scary right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Everyone's hyped up on Cam Akers, and now everyone's a little worried about. So, yeah, it'll be good kind of intel there, especially with Marlon Mack having a few years on him.
So a running back needy team trade for Marlon Mack.
Other news, we got Titans wide receiver A.J. Brown has a strained hamstring and expected to be considered week to week.
Freaking hamstrings, man.
And if you play fantasy football, you know how those hamstrings are.
Absolutely.
You are not sure when they are coming back.
That's right. Oh, I thought you meant like the fantasy players themselves as they're watching football, getting a little too hyped up and popping up off the couch and straining hamstrings.
That'll happen too.
I thought that's where you were going with that.
These are usually, a little more healthy, active people.
You take a dart throw on Henry Ruggs and you see a nice long touchdown pass to him and you pop up off the couch and hammy. Cramp. Okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah. All right. Other injury news. Patriots running back James White suffered a subluxation of the hip during yesterday's game. So out indefinitely. Undergoing tests. That would be yesterday. IR stint would make sense. So it looks like he could be possibly on the IR, possibly out just a few weeks, but indefinitely it sounds like it's going to be a lot longer than that.
Yeah, if it's as bad as Ryan Fitzpatrick's, it's not going to be a good thing. He'll be out for quite a while by the sounds of it. So unfortunately, James White, not sure who's going to be filling in that pass catching role there out of the backfield for New England now. I mean, Damian Harris doesn't really do much of that.
I mean, maybe we'll start relying on him to do that, though.
I don't know.
Maybe we can actually see a running back worth a start on the Patriots.
I don't know if J.J. Taylor's really much of a pass catcher, too. I guess Ramondre Stevenson can kind of catch a bit, but he's definitely been in the doghouse since his fumble in week 1. So, yeah, it's something to keep an eye on for sure. As of right now, I think Damian Harris for sure the only back that you can rely on
Somewhat
in New England. I mean, yeah.
Everyone knows Belichick's offense. You can't really rely on running back to play.
New England running backs, man. Yucky.
Other news. Ravens rookie wide receiver Rashad Bateman is eligible to come off IR. Will begin practicing this week.
Nice.
I feel like you had some stuff to say about him earlier this year, didn't you?
I loved Rashad Bateman coming into the season, man. It was him and Elijah Moore were my two favorite rookie wide receivers coming into the NFL. And unfortunately, we got the groin injury to Rashad Bateman there. And Elijah Moore just hasn't quite panned out the way I thought. And now he's dealing with a concussion. So not that you were thinking about starting him in redraft leagues, but I don't know. These might be two receivers that we see a little bit more. I still believe in both of them, but I think they may be more of what we used to see a couple years ago, where it was like you can't draft rookie wide receivers in redraft. You just pick them up later.
Yeah, you have to rely on a little bit later.
Because they take some time to develop. Obviously, Jamar Chase is breaking that trend right now. Justin Jefferson broke that trend. We're seeing more and more rookie wide receivers just kind of step up and be good from the get-go. But
yeah, what happened to Jamar Chase, by the way? Dropping passes, no one's going to rely on him anymore. Now he's just going off.
He figured out how to catch the NFL-sized ball, man.
Yeah, he learns quickly, apparently.
He must have been out on that jugs machine because, what is it now, 4 touchdowns in his first 3 games? I just saw a stat that he is the first rookie under 21 years of age or at 21 years of age, something like that, to do that in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Where, so it's pretty nuts, the pace that he's on right now.
So if you drafted him, good job.
Yeah,
good job.
No, the Joe Burrow Jamar Chase connection is obviously still there.
Yep. That was
pretty crazy.
All right. Other news: Steelers wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster had bruised ribs, considered day to day. So just kind of watch that for this next week. If you're planning on starting him, just make sure he's actually going to play.
Man, we saw. We saw just about every starting receiver for the Steelers go down this week.
Yeah.
Deontay did not start because he was injured. Juju got hurt, and then Claypool came up pretty gingerly and limping on a play as well. And I don't know how much more he played after that. I think he may have been in and out, but
yeah, I did see him play after that.
Yeah, crazy. And Naji Harris saw a team high 19 targets as a result, as well as 14 receptions.
Yeah.
Good grief.
If it wasn't for his receiving, he would have had a terrible week of rushing, but fantasy-wise, thank goodness he got the receiving on that. So. What, he had like 104 yards receiving?
It was insane. Yeah. 14 receptions, like 100 some yards, and a touchdown on 19 targets.
It's just crazy.
Broken Ben just throwing those short passes.
Yeah.
Wherever he could to Naji Harris.
So some good news. Panthers are saying they will not place Christian McCaffrey on IR. They're hopeful he'll be back in under 3 weeks.
This is really good news.
Very good news for everyone that drafted Christian McCaffrey with that first draft pick. Like
everybody at the 101 spot, man. Everybody
99% of people did.
Gosh, dang. Yeah, certainly good news. Hopefully we don't see anything linger with him and they're careful about bringing him back. As a Christian McCaffrey owner in a couple of leagues, that's my hope. Like, hey, ease him into it, get him back. We don't want him to get rushed back in and then go and pop his hamstring again and then go on a longer IR stint or anything like that. We definitely don't want to see an Austin Eckler situation where he's out for 6 or 7 weeks, whatever that ended up being.
Yeah, you're just holding on to him, just hoping he comes back. And
yeah, most leagues run waivers on Wednesday, which is as this podcast is released. So hopefully you jumped in and you tried to claim Chuba Hubbard. probably the number one waiver wire pickup this week.
Royce Freeman's there now, though, too.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to try to do something with him there?
I think it sounded, I think Matt Rule came out and said that it was mainly going to be Chuba Hubbard stepping up, but that Royce Freeman was going to be sprinkled in. So if you want to grab Royce Freeman and just, if you got an empty bench spot or whatever, and just stash him on the end of your bench in case.
See how it goes.
I mean, there's always those rules of picking up like a backup running back before the week starts, just in case something happens to the guy ahead of him.
Yep.
And then, if nothing happens, then you drop them and you make another waiver claim.
It's just a few weeks right there. So if anything, you just drop them afterwards if nothing comes of it.
Yep. As you get into these later kind of midweeks, after we get through the first portion of the fantasy football season, you start to have those spots on your roster on the bench that you can just kind of churn through. Not every team gets that. Some teams are real lucky and have great depth, but
not every team's like that.
But most teams, you start to get those 1 or 2 spots on the end of your bench that you can just kind of churn through. So utilize it. Yep. Don't just sit on people. Just try to make moves. And if you got a feeling about somebody, pick them up.
Pick them up. Last bit of news. If you guys saw Rob Gronkowski go down, his x-rays came back clean. So
yep, nice. And he ended up coming back in the game. And you know who they're whoa. You know who they're playing next week, Chance.
Who? Yeah,
the New England Patriots.
The New England. I think we'll get into that a little bit later, though.
Yep. Gronk and Brady returning to New England. I think Gronk is going to try to play.
Yes.
All right. Any more news over there?
That'll be it.
That is it for the news and notes. Hopefully you guys got all your waiver claims in there and you're paying attention. Make sure you're paying attention to those players that were out this last week, like T. Higgins, Josh Jacobs, Deontay Johnson.
Darrell Henderson.
Yep. It sounds like Deontay Johnson is likely going to be returning to practice this week. I believe T. Higgins is. Well, he was did not practice today. So, and they play on Thursday. So you're going to want to keep an eye on T. Higgins.
He just has one more day.
Yeah, really.
Come back,
one more day.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So you're going to want to pay close attention to that. And yeah, that'll do it for the news and injuries there. Let's go ahead and just take a look now, Chance, at positional leaders through 3 weeks, because it's wild, man.
No, I'm sure.
It's everything like all fantasy football analysts, fanalists, whatever you like to call yourself, predicted, just like we all thought before the season started. So I am going to pull up the season stats here, showing me just week 3 for now. So here we go. All right. So let's go ahead and start with the quarterbacks. And yeah, top 10 quarterbacks through 3 weeks of the season. You ready for this?
Let's hear it, Ben.
Number 1, Tom Brady. Tom Brady. I mean, 44 years old. He's the number 1 fantasy scoring quarterback right now.
Dude, he I don't even know what to say. He full on committed to that offense, and he is just going off.
Been a QB1 all 3 weeks. Number 2, Kyler Murray. Not really surprised.
No.
Number 3, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Not really surprised. Number 4, Kirk Cousins.
Kirk
Country Cousins, man.
Oh, man. I think he made a statement about that. He said, I'm a top 10 quarterback. Do not count me out.
Yeah, he's
trying to prove himself and put himself in that top 10 discussion every year.
The man is slinging right now. I believe he's been a QB1 all 3 weeks as well. And he's thrown 3 touchdown passes in the past 2 weeks, and he threw 2 touchdown passes in the first week. I mean, he's feeling it.
He's slinging the ball.
When you got Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson there, man, Dalvin Cook to throw the ball to as well, you better be. Number 5, Matthew Stafford. A lot of people peg Stafford for a late round value or mid-round value.
I was definitely high on Stafford. So
in the Los Angeles Rams there with Sean McVay definitely makes sense. Jalen Hurts, this one was people were either on one end or the other with Jalen Hurts.
Everyone is either putting him way down on the list or they had him real high on the list. So.
And if you watch that game against the Cowboys on Monday night, he was terrible.
Yes.
But garbage time counts for fantasy football. And he ended up outscoring Dak Prescott in that game fantasy-wise. Wild.
Just wild.
Hey, sometimes...
You gotta love football.
Gotta love garbage time, man. Oh, Josh Allen is the number 7 quarterback right now.
Slow start.
Thanks a lot to just this last Sunday.
Yeah.
So pumped him up there. We're not surprised with Josh Allen in a top 10 spot. Lamar Jackson comes in at number 8. Not really surprised with Lamar Jackson up in the top 10 either. Derek Carr at number 9.
He's been slinging the ball too.
Yeah.
He's actually been looking pretty good.
Pretty sure he's finished as a QB1 every week as well.
Yeah.
So
He's been slinging the ball. Everyone counts him out. You know, I kind of do the same thing every now and then, but that guy slings the ball everywhere.
I believe he's the passing yards leader, if not the passing yards leader. He's like top 3 in the NFL right now for passing yards. So, yeah, over 380 yards in every game so far this season. Pretty good.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Who's the number 10 quarterback, Chance?
Number 10. Oh, is it Dak?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Who is it?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Man.
QB 10 on the season through 3 weeks, man. And, I mean, been doing surprisingly well. Like, I mean, they've lost every game. But for fantasy purposes, he's getting you rushing yards is what's doing it. In the first 2 weeks, he had a rushing touchdown in each week, as well as a passing touchdown. This last week, he disappointed a little bit, but he also got you 39 rushing yards, as well as 266 passing yards. And in our scoring format here, which is normal quarterback scoring for most leagues, 16.54 fantasy points, which is an all right day.
It's a solid QB.
If that's a floor, then hey, Daniel Jones is going to be good.
Especially
fantasy
how their
QB.
offensive line looks. That's a pretty good floor.
Crazy, man. And just to go through a few more here, we got Russell Wilson at number 11, Sam Darnold at number 12, Justin Herbert 13, Jared Goff 14, Dak Prescott at 15, and Teddy Bridgewater at 16. So there's all your QB1s if you're in 16-team leagues.
It's hard to believe Jared Goff is in top 15 after watching him last week.
Yeah, he did not have a good week whatsoever. But that's Jared Goff for you, man.
Yeah,
I mean, he did the same thing with the Rams.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Just kind of the way it goes. All right, let's jump over into running backs. We'll take a look at the top 10 there. This one, a little less surprising, I would say. Number 1 running back on the season thus far is, and this is in half PPR scoring, Derrick Henry. Whoop, whoop.
That's my boy.
After a whatever.
Monster week in week 2.
Yeah, 40-point game or whatever.
44, I think is what I got out of him.
44.7-point game in week 2. He is currently the running back 1 with 71.8 fantasy points. Aaron Jones is running back 2. Both these guys on your dynasty team.
Yes, they are.
Well,
they carry my team.
Literally. Literally, they carry your team. DeAndre Swift is running back 3 so far on the season. So I think everybody pegged him as like a top 10 running back talent, but just being on the Lions was like, I don't know that I want to. And then coming into the season was injury concerns because he had an injury there in the preseason. So
I think that was the main thing about him was just the injury concern because everyone knows that DeAndre Swift is a good running back. It's just injury. And then, I mean, the Lions are just flat out relying on him right now to ball out.
Absolutely. It's all reliant on receiving work right now. He's getting anywhere from 8 to 14 touches so far this season or carries, I mean, not touches. But in the receiving game, he's got 8 receptions in week 1, 4 receptions in week 2, and 7 receptions in week 3. So all reliant on receiving work there.
When you got a wide receiver core like the Lions, I mean, can you blame them? Can you blame them?
Very, very true. Christian McCaffrey, even after being knocked out early in that Thursday night game, is running back 4 on the season.
That's not surprising, though.
Not at all. Austin Eckler, running back 5. A lot of people were pegging Austin Eckler for a top 7 running back, to be honest. Wasn't really being drafted there, but I know there was a lot of chatter about him being kind of a value at where he was being drafted. Ezekiel Elliott, running back 6. He was being left for dead for a little while.
Yeah. Well, it was looking like they were going to start doing like a committee with him and Tony Pollard, but
yeah, and
I think they're starting to get the old Zeke back that everyone knows and loves, and
Zeke has looked good, but Tony Pollard has also looked very good. So that might just be a case where we've got 2 good running backs, kind of a Cleveland Browns situation.
Yeah.
Speaking of running back 7, Kareem Hunt.
Ooh, over Nick Chubb.
With 45.9 points. He had a massive game this last week.
Yeah, he did.
In week 3.
How many points did he get in fantasy?
24.5. So I guess not massive, but that's good.
That's pretty good for being technically the number 2 running back.
Really good running back there. Yeah, he was running the ball really well, had 10 carries for 81 yards, a touchdown, and then 6 receptions for 74 yards. There were Jarvis Landry was hurt. I think Anthony Schwartz had been nicked up a little bit.
Odell's coming back from injury.
They got Odell back, and Baker was just slinging the rock, and Kareem Hunt prospered in that. And again, speaking of Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb, running back 8. With 45.8 points.
2 top 10 running backs. That's pretty good for the Browns.
They are 0.1 point apart. So, and last season, that was one of my predictions. It was Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb would both be in the top 15. I think Nick Chubb was top 10 was my prediction. Kareem Hunt was top 15. That ended up coming true, and I doubled down on it in one of the podcasts this offseason and said, we're going to see it again.
It works. It works.
Sure enough.
Why not keep going with it? So
one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. Okay, here's a couple that may surprise you. Running back 9, Naji Harris, kind of being drafted up there. Everybody knew he was going to get a lot of touches, but just as a rookie, to see him in the top 10 is kind of like, okay. And as bad as that O-line is for the Steelers, it's kind of like, like I did not see that happening. But he's there.
I didn't really see it happening. I thought he was getting drafted really early.
Yep.
Like, I thought his ADP was very high, but I mean, hey, if you're number 9 right now as a rookie running back, you're doing a good job.
14 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. I'll help you with that. Okay, here's really weird. Cordarrelle Patterson is running back 10.
No.
Running back 10 on the season with 42.3 fantasy points in half PPR scoring.
What is that? What is that?
Cordarrelle Patterson, just like we all thought. I don't even have much to say about this, but if Cordarrelle Patterson is available in your leagues, pick him up because apparently the Atlanta Falcons are going to be using him.
They're just looking for anything that works right now.
I mean, he's heavily involved in the passing game. 6 receptions, 82 yards.
He got 13 touches too in the rushing, didn't he?
No, yeah, he's actually had 7 carries every game. 7 carries, but he had 13 total touches.
Oh, okay.
Between receptions and carries. But he's getting used pretty heavily in the passing game the last couple of weeks. And you want to pick up Cordarrelle Patterson, and I'd say start him in a flex spot.
Wouldn't hurt. Top 10.
That's running back 10 on the season.
Top 10.
All right. Just to throw out a few more here real quick. We've got Melvin Gordon at running back 11. Chris Carson is running back 12. Alvin Kamara running back 13.
Ooh.
Joe Mixon running back 14. And then Javonte Williams running back 16. And James Robinson with a big week this last week has bumped up to running back 16. Ahead of Antonio Gibson, who is running back 17.
That's surprising.
Running backs are wild right now.
Yeah. Not really sure where you're going to be at right now.
Pretty crazy. Let's jump into wide receivers now. And who else could number 1 be other than Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp.
Matthew Stafford loves him some Cooper Kupp.
They're best buddies. He's got 5 touchdowns in 3 games.
That's just insane.
And double-digit targets in every game. 7 receptions week 1, 9 receptions in both week 2 and week 3. 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. He's uncoverable, man.
Apparently so.
He's uncoverable.
Always open. Always open.
Cooper Kupp, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Just like we all thought. Mike Williams with the Chargers is wide receiver 2 on the season, man. And he just keeps getting it done as well. It's crazy. I mean, we all kind of pegged him for having the talent, but he's been up around double-digit targets every week, too. He had 9 targets in week 3, 8 receptions week 1, 7 receptions in both week 2 and week 3. He's got 4 touchdowns through 3 games.
You know what? I thought he was going to be kind of one of the inconsistent like he used to be, but Herbert's looking his way. So, I mean, if this keeps going, he might be a must start if he keeps putting up numbers like he is right now.
Absolutely a must start until further notice. Tyler Lockett, wide receiver 3.
Big games. He had a huge first 2 weeks.
Yes, he did.
Last week, I don't think he did much.
Yeah, he came back down to earth, and this is what you see from Tyler Lockett. Couple big weeks, and then 5.1 fantasy points in week 3 against the Minnesota defense too.
Dude, they just watching that they could not move the ball.
Crazy.
I don't understand what was going on.
I don't know. The Vikings have a chip on their shoulder when they play the Seahawks, though.
Very true.
Speaking of Vikings, wide receiver 4 is Adam Thielen.
Touchdowns.
Touchdowns.
Mr. Touchdown.
That's what he does, man. All he does is score touchdowns. 4 touchdowns in 3 weeks. And he's getting right up around 10 targets each game as well. 9 receptions, 6 receptions, 6 receptions again. But touchdowns all over the place. Craziness. Wide receiver 5, rookie Jamar Chase. And we talked about Jamar Chase a little while ago. He's the man.
Yeah, he learns fast, apparently.
Yep, he's figured it out. Wide receiver 6, Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, who everybody simultaneously slept on, but also saw as a value because they expected this, I guess. I don't know.
What? How many years in a row has he gotten 1,000 yards? And he's always slept on.
He's Mr. Consistency. He is Mr. Consistency. I do wish that I had picked him up in more leagues. And I always thought I could wait just like one more round and then I would take Brandon Cooks, but he kept getting snatched up. And I always tried to get too greedy by waiting another round with Brandon Cooks, and I wish I would not have. Wide receiver 7. Okay, now we'll start getting into some names that we really expect up here. Chris Godwin, wide receiver 7. Okay. Wide receiver 8, Devonte Adams. We've seen a resurgence the last 2 weeks after a really crappy week 1 for the entire Green Bay Packers team.
You know what? I almost think that's like an Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, this is what happens if you don't have me on the team or if I don't play well.
Yeah, he just wanted to show him.
Yeah, he just wanted to show him, like, hey, this is what happens if you don't have me at my talent.
Oh, my gosh. Probably. I would not put it past Aaron Rodgers doing something along those lines. Wide receiver 9 is Deebo Samuel, and that kind of similar to Tyler Lockett came off the back of 2 big weeks in week 1 and week 2, and kind of came back down to earth against the Green Bay Packers there. 7.7 fantasy points, so it didn't kill you, but
nothing. They seem to start putting Ayuk.
We saw Ayuk finally start to get used. It's Shanahanigans, man. I tell you. I
don't know.
Oh, and if just one of those Ayuk receptions would have gone to George Kittle, I would have beat you in the Dynasty League.
But it didn't happen, did it?
Shut your face. Justin Jefferson is wide receiver 10. Not necessarily a surprise there.
No.
I think a lot of people were expecting a
top 10 performance out of him.
Top 10 from Justin Jefferson, so that would explain Kirk Cousins being quarterback 4. And then to go through the next 6 here, because it's just kind of surprising to see. We've got DJ Moore at wide receiver 11, Marquise Hollywood Brown at 12, Christian Kirk is wide receiver 13 on the season.
I mean, he was forgotten about last year, too. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, he's back. He's back.
Tyreek Hill is wide receiver 14 on the season.
That's a little surprising. That's very surprising.
I mean, to be down at 14, absolutely. But wide receiver 15 chance is really going to just blow you away. You ready? You wanna take a shot in the dark at who wide receiver 15
I'm
is?
honestly so confused and excited right now to hear what this is.
Are you prepared?
I don't know if I am.
Cordarrelle Patterson is wide receiver 15. Because on Sleeper, he still has the running back wide receiver designation. So you can throw him into any of those slots. He is wide receiver 15 and running back 10 on the season.
You think he can keep this up, though? Like, the Falcons just that bad right now? They have to rely on Cordarrelle Patterson to do everything for them?
I'm telling you right now, I'm plugging him into my lineups until we see
I would, too.
Old Cordarrelle Patterson come back.
I would, too.
Oh, man. Keenan Allen is wide receiver 16, so...
Cordarrelle Patterson in front of Keenan Allen. What is going on?
Weird stuff. All right, we'll jump into tight ends. We won't do defenses or kickers because blah.
Yeah.
Tight end, number 1 on the season. I bet you can't venture a guess as to who that is.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, wow. It's Travis Kelce. It's...
That was a completely random guess.
Yeah,
I had
man.
no idea.
I can't believe you got that. Rob Gronkowski, tight end 2. Tight end 2 on the season. So
Brady Gronkowski.
It's just back to connection, man.
Back to the old stuff.
And hopefully Gronk's ribs are okay, because I think we'll continue to see Gronk as a top 3 tight end the rest of the season.
Yeah.
If he can maintain health.
Brady's going to keep looking his way.
And you best believe Gronk's going to catch a touchdown against New England.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying multiple.
It's getting forced.
I think Brady and Gronk are just going to pound it on the Patriots and just...
Belichick might just let them, just for funsies.
I would hope not, but yeah.
Probably not. But,
he'll keep the same face either way, though.
Guy that everybody's been hoping to pan out for a while, TJ Hawkinson, tight end 3 on the season. And I think he's going to continue to be a top 5 tight end.
Yep.
If not top 3.
Pretty much cost
the rest of the year.
The only other option other than the DeAndre Swift.
He's the best receiver they got there. So Darren Waller, again, no surprise here. Tight end number 4 on the season.
Yep.
And after a big game in Monday Night Football, Dalton Schultz, tight end 5. Let's go. Let's go. I believe most of this came from, a 23-point game Monday night, not last night, Monday night against the Eagles there. I believe he scored 2 touchdowns. Yes, he did. 2 touchdowns for Dalton Schultz, and he vaults up to tight end 5. Woo!
I don't expect that to last.
Your boy in Buffalo, Dawson Knox, tight end number 6 on the season.
Surprise, surprise.
Actually, he's tied here with Logan Thomas. So Logan Thomas and Dawson Knox, both tight end 6.
Dawson Knox, I mean, Buffalo were not throwing to their tight ends, and some reason decided to start throwing to him. He's been, 6, 8, and 12 or something like that? Or
He's, not that many targets. He's just been... He's been getting
points.
Oh, points. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking targets. I was like, no, he has not gotten that many targets.
They don't look to him that often, but
no,
he's getting more looks than he used to.
Yeah, point totals. Yeah, 6, 8, 12. Target wise, he's gotten 4, 3, and 5 targets in each game. Scored a touchdown in each of the last 2 games. Logan Thomas has also scored a touchdown in 2 of 3 games this season, and does not seem to be slowing down much with Taylor Heineke there. So he'll continue to be a top 10 option for you. George Kittle, kind of a surprise, is tight end 8, but we saw him kind of return to George Kittle form this last game.
Yeah.
Got 9 targets, 7 receptions, 92 yards. All he was missing was a touchdown, and it would have been a top 3 tight end finish on the week. So we'll see George Kittle get back up in there. Tyler Conklin, tight end 9 on the season.
It's been a reliable target for him.
Yep. got 8 targets, 7 receptions, 70 yards, and a touchdown against Seattle. Seattle's still not great against tight ends. So porous secondary for Seattle there.
I don't know what Seattle's doing right now.
Benefited Tyler Conklin. And then Mark Andrews is tight end number 10. And we saw kind of the same thing as George Kittle. Kind of just a down couple first 2 weeks. And then we saw him return to relevance a little bit this week with 7 targets, 5 receptions, and 109 yards. So Mark Andrews, top 10 tight end.
I think George Kittle and Mark Andrews are going to climb back up that list.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Now that they're back in their groove, they're going to get back to the Mark Andrews and George Kittle we know and love.
Absolutely. Everybody down past tight end 4 there, I would expect to, of all those guys, Mark Andrews and George Kittle are the ones that I expect to be the most consistent with these points and to continue to climb. Just for funsies, tight end 11, Dallas Goedert, tight end 12, Tyler Higbee, tight end 13, Noah Fant, Austin Hooper is tight end 14, and then Kyle Pitts, tight end 15. Not quite paying off at the draft capital he was being drafted at yet.
No, but
so far.
What were you supposed to expect from a rookie tight end, though? Like, everyone had him so high up because of his athletic ability, but it's a rookie tight end. He's learned the system. I think he'll start to pan out later in the season when it, start getting the playoffs and stuff like that. But you got to figure out the system first before you become part of it. So
he was your 2 hot player for the Goldilocks episode, was he not?
I'm right. So far, I'm right.
Absolutely. And Mike Gesicki is tight end 16 there. We saw him get heavily targeted by Jacoby Brissett. So
yeah, that last game really stayed him there.
Yeah, as long as Jacoby Brissett is playing, then I would feel a little bit better about plugging Gesicki into my lineup. But again, the tight end position is a swampland.
Yeah, pass the what? First
dart
4
throw.
guys, 4
dart
or 5.
Throw.
It's a dart throw.
Yeah, and I think you can still continue to start George Kittle, Mark Andrews confidently. So there's about 6 guys in there that I feel really confident about.
If I have those guys on my team, I'm starting them every week. I don't care if they have down week. I am not sitting them.
They're in. All right. So wild times looking at the positional leaders through 3 weeks, and we're going to do a quick recap and quick preview. Recap of week 3 and a preview of week 4. So we'll get into it. All right. So keeping our recap a little bit shorter this week, as well as the preview. We're just going to run through the games really quick, just do a brief recap of who won, and if anything really sticks out from any individual game chance, then we'll bring that up and talk. But the people know what happened.
Yeah.
They've seen it.
You guys are watching the football games. You're paying attention to your lineups. You know what's happening.
Yep. Most people are out there on Red Zone paying attention to that. So the first game that we had was the Carolina Panthers against the Houston Texans, and the Panthers won 24-9. Panthers currently 3-0, and we are seeing Sam Darnold thrive without the fantasy Dementor, man. And on the Houston side of the ball, Brandon Cooks, doesn't matter if it's Davis Mills, it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is.
You're throwing to Brandon Cooks.
Start Brandon Cooks.
You're throwing to Brandon Cooks.
Keep him in. They're going to be targeting him. Obviously, we saw Christian McCaffrey get hurt in this one, so some of the big takeaways there. Some news from the Panthers. Dan Arnold did get traded, and they utilized rookie Tommy Tremble in the tight end position there. He actually had a rushing touchdown on an end around there. Do you think Tommy Tremble has any fantasy relevance?
No.
Not yet?
Maybe touchdown dependent.
Yeah.
And I think he'll get sub 10 maybe for you, but I would not rely on him, no.
Right on. And are we hitting the panic button on Robbie Andrews?
Robbie who?
Robbie, who did I say?
Robbie Andrews?
Oh my gosh. Robbie Anderson.
I knew who you're talking about. But
my bad, dude. Mark Andrews was on the brain. We were talking about tight ends. Panic button on Robbie Anderson.
I wouldn't say. I'd say no right now. They are throwing to DJ Moore a lot. That's why he was top 12. I think they're going to start putting their main quarterbacks on DJ Moore, so Robbie Anderson should get more looks. We saw Robbie Anderson last year just go off, so I feel like maybe it's just getting hooked back up with Sam Darnold again. Maybe I wouldn't put him down yet.
All right, fair enough. Okay, moving into the next one, Washington football team took on the Buffalo Bills. Who won that one, Chance?
The Bills destroyed Washington.
Yeah, they did.
Josh Allen back to what we all expected from him this year.
Yep.
4 touchdowns, so
yeah,
don't be afraid to play. I mean, he didn't have terrible games. I mean, there were 14-point, 16-point fantasy points. I mean, they weren't terrible, but they weren't the Josh Allen we were expecting this year. So I think he's starting to get back into it. The Washington defense, don't know what's happening with them.
Not what was expected.
No.
At all.
No. So,
yeah. Emmanuel Sanders, probably a good flex play from here on out. Saw a great game out of him. I mean, Cole Beasley could even be a flex play. We saw all these guys get up near double-digit targets. Stephon Diggs kind of suffered from everybody else getting involved, including Dawson Knox. But, man, what about the running backs on the Buffalo side really quick? You feeling good about Zach Moss and Devin Singletary? It's going to be...
So the only problem I have with it almost seems like they're almost touchdown dependent because Zach Moss had a 18-point week or something like that, but it's off at 2 touchdowns. I mean, he didn't get a ton of yardage off of it, so I think they're just touchdown dependent. Maybe put him in the flex, but still I'd be a little nervous because if they're not getting those touchdowns, I don't see a bunch of points coming out of them right now.
Yeah, they're both about 50-50 on carries, so if you're putting one in, you just kind of got to hope.
And the Buffalo just love throwing the ball with Josh Allen, so...
Absolutely. Chicago Bears took on the Cleveland Browns and lost 6-26, and the Bears were just never really in this game. We saw Justin Fields get his first start and got just eaten alive.
Well, you saw the stat that was talked about all over the internet, didn't you? Justin Tucker's field goal, more yards than the Chicago Bears got on offense.
That's
how does that happen?
That's ridiculous. Yeah, Justin Fields threw for 68 yards, so I guess he barely edged it out.
Barely edged it out.
I mean,
that's it.
He only completed 6 passes. 6 passes.
I feel like I've said this on the podcast before. It's Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't know what it is about them. If the system in Ohio State does not translate to NFL, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he might be just one of those guys you need to sit on the bench, let him figure out the offense before you try plugging him in like this, because that was not a good showing.
No, people were excited for his rushing game, and he only had 12 yards rushing, so... Bad game by all the Bears all around. Disgusting. There was just no game plan there. It was weird.
It was bad.
Brown side of the ball, your usual suspects. Nick Chubb didn't have a great game, but it was definitely a Kareem Hunt game. Still had 80 yards rushing, so, I mean, didn't kill you.
Austin Hooper had a decent game.
Yes, caught a touchdown, so that boosted him up a little bit there. I think as long as Jarvis Landry is out, you can feel okay putting Austin Hooper in a tight end spot. But, yeah, I mean, tight ends.
Tight ends.
Oh, man, speaking of Justin Tucker's chance, Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions, that was epic. I can't believe the Lions kept it as close as they did.
I can't either, even after watching Jared Goff play. I don't know why the Ravens struggle so much to... I don't know.
Pretty crazy.
I don't know what to say about that one.
Yep.
Doesn't help when Marquise Brown drops a couple for sure touchdowns.
Right.
This would have been as close a game apparently. So.
No, it would have been a little bit more of a blowout at that point. Not starting any Lions wide receivers anytime soon.
Nope.
Arizona Cardinals beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-19. Cardinals 3-0, Jacksonville 0-3, and this was actually a close game for a while.
Jacksonville was actually looking like they were gonna win that game for a while, and then the Cardinals just came out hot.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not losing to Jacksonville.
Yeah, no. Jacksonville fell apart, and Trevor Lawrence just taking time to get things figured out, I think. 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles in this game. So
he did get dealt with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes, he did.
James Robinson, though.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah. We saw a resurgence from James Robinson, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping this sticks around. 15 carries and 6 receptions. Got a touchdown, 88 yards rushing, 46 yards receiving.
So Urban Meyer's shining like, oh, yeah, this guy actually worked out for the offense last year. Let's give him the ball more.
Maybe he listened to the people. To the people. I think you can still continue to feel good about Marvin Jones in a flex. He is the clear wide receiver 1 there for the Jaguars, but AJ Green had a good day, 112 yards. I think a lot of what we saw from Kirk and Green was because of Hopkins being a game-time decision.
Yeah.
So not a very good game from DeAndre Hopkins there, which is unusual, but more of a decoy this game.
Yeah, I think it's more a decoy. Just trying to take it easy on him so he's not... They want him from the long haul. They don't... They were playing the Jaguars, so they weren't expecting the DeAndre to win the game for them, so...
Yep. And with these running backs, I feel kind of similarly to them as we did the Buffalo Bills on the Cardinals side.
Yeah.
James Conner and Chase Edmonds just kind of flex spot and then hope you get lucky with a touchdown.
Yeah, I full on agree with that.
Yeah. Los Angeles Chargers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 30-24. That's awesome.
Chargers.
As a Broncos fan, I love to see the Chiefs. Well, I technically wanted both these teams to lose, but
yeah. You're worried about the Chargers now, though. They're looking hot.
Yes, they are.
Austin Eckler, he stays healthy. Justin Herbert's
we saw
had
him,
a better game this week.
We saw him return to form this week too, for sure. Yeah, and Mike Williams continuing to be great, and Keenan Allen had a good game as well. So. Mecole Hardman had a decent game here. I think that's 2 weeks in a row for Mecole Hardman, but volume still just isn't quite there.
Those number 2 wide receivers there in Kansas City, you can't rely on them.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a bounce back game, and I believe I said it in last week's episode that I thought Andy Reid was going to try to get Clyde more involved this week and try to boost his confidence a little bit. And we saw a pretty good game from him. 17 carries, 100 yards, 2 receptions, 1 for a touchdown. And he did fumble 1 time, but they didn't go away from him. They continued to give him the ball, and I think that was just more of a confidence booster.
Yeah, that's what they need to do.
For Clyde. So hopefully we see that continue. Of course, just as you were probably ready to bench Clyde, he has a good game. Saints beat the Patriots here, Chance, 28-13. Saints defense worked a clinic on Mac Jones.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
big
for
time.
sure. For sure. Running backs all around on the Patriots side of the ball were gross. Kendrick Bourne had a great day. Jacoby Myers also had a pretty decent day. So not sure what to do about receivers there. I guess Jacoby Myers is the one you feel decent about a flex spot?
That's the one if I'm going to start one in the flex, Jacoby Myers, but I'm honestly probably still sitting on him for a couple weeks.
Yep.
See if I can get anything consistent out of the receiving core there.
We saw Marquez Callaway kind of finally pan out for the Saints, but the only person I'm really confident in starting on the Saints is Kamara.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much about it. All right. Atlanta Falcons got a win and beat the New York Giants. Another last-second field goal to win this one. And still just kind of mediocrity.
Bad team versus
all
bad
around,
team,
man. Yeah. We did see Saquon Barkley return to form a little bit. Got peppered with targets, receptions. So good to see Saquon get back into it. But Kenny Golladay still just continuing to kind of disappoint.
Yeah. I thought they'd try to give him more targets, throw those 50-50 balls to him, and not so much.
Yep. Calvin Ridley, sort of the same thing there. I mean, 8 receptions, 61 yards, but he's just not getting the touchdowns.
No.
And not quite as heavily targeted as we would expect. I mean, 11 targets is great, but
you'd think they'd just throwing the ball all the time, but
we just need those touchdowns. Come on, Ridley.
Apparently, Cordarrelle Patterson is the answer.
The guy.
Atlanta.
The guy. Bengals beat up on the Steelers 24-10, and Steelers just line's gross. Just gross.
It did not look good.
Ben Roethlisberger threw the ball 58 times.
Whoa.
Completed 38 of them. 14 of those went to Naji Harris. I mean, I guess you just got to continue to start Naji, Deontay Johnson when he's healthy, Juju and Claypool in flex spots. Like
they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I think they're going to be down a lot this year, especially when they play. The Bengals are a decent team. I mean, their offense is doing great.
They're tearing it up right now.
So I think anytime the Steelers are going to play any good teams, you're going to expect Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball a lot. And so, yeah.
Yep.
Najee and all those receivers.
Oh, man. Indianapolis Colts got beat by your Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
25-16. Saw some classic Derrick Henry. Didn't get in the end zone, but almost 30 carries, over 100 yards again. He's getting involved in the passing game now.
Yeah, he's been working. That's pretty much all he's been working on in the offseason. So he's trying to just be the every down back right now.
If he continues to be this involved in the passing game, number one fantasy asset.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
Honestly.
The Colts offense, though, disappointing. I thought they'd actually have something this year, and Jonathan Taylor's not getting much. They're looking at Naheem Hines a lot. Pascal didn't have a great game this last game. Pittman is kind of turning out to be more of the past couple weeks consistent wide receiver for them.
Yeah, he had a decent game. Got you 10.3 fantasy points, half PPR there.
But man, I thought they'd do better this year. Quentin Nelson is out.
Yeah, he got knocked out.
Carson Wentz is injured, so
he was playing on 2 bum ankles.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that, but man,
in a divisional game here too, Tennessee was fired up to take them down, I think. So, yeah, not what we quite expected from the Colts there. My Denver Broncos got the shutout on the Jets, 26-0. Let's go Broncos. Unfortunately, lost KJ Hamler to a torn ACL in this game, so that's unfortunate. They did pick up David Moore there. So something to keep an eye on, but Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, stocks up for them.
Yep.
Hopefully Jerry Jeudy will be back sooner than later. Both Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams are top 15 running backs right now, and they both continue to split the carries basically 50-50 and being productive.
Yep.
So Teddy Bridgewater had a down game this game, didn't have to throw the ball much. Zach, the Jets are going to jet, man. Jets are going to jet, I guess. Zach Wilson looked pretty good in week 1, but the last 2 weeks has just looked rough.
Very rough.
Not good. He's gone up against 2 really stellar defensive lines and just defenses in general. So I think that was part of it. I mean, going up against Belichick, who's really, his defenses are always good against rookie quarterbacks. Going up against Vic Fangio, his defenses are always good against rookie quarterbacks. Hopefully we see a bounce back from Zach Wilson and the Jets this next week.
I think we will see a little more better play from him later on this season. It's just, he's a rookie, and yeah, you go against the Patriots and Broncos D-line where they're just trying to maul you the whole time.
Yeah. If you're feeling lucky, maybe start Corey Davis this next week, but other than that, I'm staying away from all Jets, although we are seeing Michael Carter start to take over the backfield there.
Yep.
So something to keep an eye on. Las Vegas Raiders beat the Miami Dolphins in a thrilling overtime game there. Everybody thought the Dolphins were going to get run over with Jacoby Brissett starting, but he was a competent starter for 2 years. I mean, for 2 seasons. Derek Carr, we talked about him continuing to be a quarterback 1 on the season, and then Peyton Barber surprisingly outtouched Kenyon Drake after they paid Kenyon Drake.
What was that all about?
$10 million, man.
I thought they'd be hammering down Kenyon Drake this game, but Peyton Barber was the guy.
Yeah, just
pick up Peyton Barber, put him in the new offense, and hey, have fun.
Yep. So you probably already had your waivers go through. So hopefully you made a move to pick up Peyton Barber and just keep an eye on Josh Jacobs, whether he plays this week. 3 receivers on the Raiders side of the ball were all fairly productive. Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, and Hunter Renfrow. And another down week from Darren Waller here. 5 receptions, 54 yards. I mean, didn't kill you, but not great. Not great.
Not great. Hunter Renfrow, though, he's been pretty consistent. I mean, 8 points, 10 points, something like that every week. So
yeah, until further notice, Hunter Renfrow, good second flex spot.
Little plug-in. If you're not feeling really good about anyone, plug in Hunter Renfrow, expect 8-10 points out of him. And
if you got some injuries or something that you need to cover there. So Jalen Waddle got 13 targets, 12 receptions, only 58 yards. But Jalen Waddle, kind of in that same vein as Hunter Renfrow there, I would say.
Yeah.
And all right. Next one was Minnesota Vikings beating the Seattle Seahawks 30-17.
Seahawks did not look good.
No, they had a rough game.
Look good.
Rough game against the Vikings there. The usual suspects on the Vikings side of the ball, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, and Kirk Cousins all had good games. Alexander Mattison filled in for Dalvin Cook and had himself a really good game. 112 rushing yards, 59 receiving yards. And Tyler Conklin also really good game. DK Metcalf had himself a pretty good game as well. 100 yards, a touchdown. Chris Carson, good game there. Usual suspects on that side. Tyler Lockett had his down game.
Yep. You got to expect that from him. Just guessing which week it is.
And bit of a floor from Russell Wilson there.
Yeah, that was a rough game to watch.
For sure.
For the Seahawks.
Then we saw the Los Angeles Rams knock off the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the score, I mean, this game didn't seem as close as the score actually ended up being, 34-24. All your usual suspects on both sides, except Giovanni Bernard was the running back for the Bucs this week.
With his receiving.
Yep.
9 reception, 51 yards, and a touchdown. So look out for that.
If you're ever expecting the Buccaneers to be losing, Giovanni Bernard. Put him in. But, other than that.
Tom Brady threw 55 passes, 432 yards, and just 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Just could not get him in the end zone, apparently.
That Rams defense is stout. But Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdowns, 343 yards. That Buccaneers secondary, you can definitely move the ball against them. Desean Jackson had a big week. Is this smoke or fire?
No, this is smoke.
Yeah.
3 receptions, 120 yards. This is the usual Desean Jackson we see where it's those big plays or he's not in it.
Runs by the defense.
Yeah.
Somehow he was completely wide open on that touchdown catch he had. Panic time on Robert Woods, Chance?
I mean, they're not looking his way, so I might be hitting the panic button on him. The Cooper Kupp connection is just phenomenal, so he's looking his way, and apparently Kupp is just open all the time.
Yeah,
Van Jefferson got more receptions than Robert Woods this week, so I mean, I'm a little worried about him.
I am too. Not gonna lie, I was expecting this to be an uptick game for him. And I don't know. Hopefully, if we don't see something next week, then I am officially hitting the panic button for sure.
I agree with you on that one.
Tyler Higbee had a good game here as well. And we saw Gronk get hurt but came back in, so hopefully he'll be back. San Francisco 49ers lost to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football on another last-second field goal.
37 seconds.
They left him 37 seconds.
Left Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds, and he made it seem no timeouts.
You can't do that, though.
No timeouts, 37 seconds, and...
and they just forgot about one of the best receivers in the game on that last drive.
12 receptions, 132 yards.
Throw the ball to Devonte Adams. Yeah. That's basically, actually, Aaron Rodgers was on the interview afterwards, and he just said, all I was thinking was throw it to Tay. Throw it to Tay.
Half his yards were to him.
Yep.
So Aaron Rodgers had 261 yards, 132 of that went to Adams.
Crazy. Aaron Jones
That
got it done
connection is
again.
back. That connection is back.
It's back. Kyle Juszczyk was the running back to have for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Good grief. What a mess. Trey Sermon did get into the end zone, though, so he kind of saved you there. I did put him in the big league in a flex spot because T. Higgins was out. And so it ended up kind of saving me some points there. Not that I needed them.
Easy now. Easy now.
Deebo Samuel, down game. Brandon Ayuk got back involved. We talked about that. And George Kittle had himself a decent game there. Jimmy Garoppolo, not great. Not great.
Yeah, he's kind of just taking on that game manager role where he's not going to get you big points any weeks, but he's going to throw for 250 yards, maybe get a couple touchdowns, but can't really expect much more out of him.
About it. And then the Monday night game, Dallas Cowboys just put a whooping on the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, well, the receivers actually for the Cowboys didn't really get much for you. Definitely a floor game from CeeDee Lamb, and then Amari Cooper really hurt you with only 4.1 points there. But Ezekiel Elliott, 2 touchdowns, 95 yards, 3 receptions for 21 yards there. And Tony Pollard, I mean, if you put him in a flex, 7 points, better than 0, I suppose.
For an RB2, I mean, the second running back on the team.
It really wasn't a bad game if he would have gotten the end zone.
Yeah.
60 yards and a touchdown you would have felt good about that.
I mean, he was averaging 5.5 yards a carry, so I mean, he was having a good game. Right. Just not seeing the carries.
Yep, 11 carries there, so I mean, not a killer performance there. If you happen to just plug Dalton Schultz into your lineup, then you felt really good about yourself.
Oh, man.
Zach Ertz got you a garbage time touchdown, so good on you if you had Zach Ertz. The wide receivers is kind of a similar situation on the Eagles side of the ball. Wide receivers were all just kind of disappointing there, and then the running backs also disappointing.
Yep, Jalen Hurts, most yards out of the running backs, and he's a quarterback.
Miles, they ran the ball 3 times. Hold on.
Yeah, between Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell 3 times, and Jalen Hurts had 9.
9 carries.
So Miles Sanders, I mean, 13.5 yards a carry. So like, why'd they stop?
Clearly the pass wasn't working.
Why'd they stop?
That's
why their pass isn't working, because they're not rushing the ball.
What a joke.
I felt like that was a very common sense thing in the NFL, is you got to rush the ball to throw it, but apparently not that game.
If you started Jalen Hurts, garbage time definitely saved you in that one.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is the recap here. Let's flip on over to Week 4, Chance, and we will do a lightning preview of Week 4. Week 4 is upon us.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you get your lineup set. We've got Thursday night game here, and we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. We might see the streak of really good primetime performances kind of end here, maybe. Unless the Jaguars just step up and really make this a game, but I kind of see the Bengals blowing out the Jaguars on this one.
Yeah, I think the only person I'd really feel somewhat comfortable starting on the Jaguars right now is James Robinson and maybe Marvin Jones in your flex, since he seems to be the number 1 guy there.
Yeah, Marvin Jones is going to get the targets to be a flex start, I believe, there. So James Robinson, yeah, I mean, he looks like the workhorse now. But of course, Urban Meyer going to Urban.
He could Urban.
Bengals side of the ball, you're going to start Joe Burrow. You're going to start Jamar Chase. You're going to start, if T. Higgins doesn't play, you're going to start Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's probably about it there. So, next one.
Titans and Jets.
Yeah, buddy.
So, Jets. I'm probably... Maybe
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis. Maybe Michael Carter sees a lot more touches. I wouldn't rely on that, though.
Yeah.
Titans playing the Jets. Derrick Henry, hammer that hard. I think he's going to have a huge week.
Derrick Henry's going to feast this
AJ
week.
Brown's probably going to be out this week. So Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
Those are your must starts. If they're on your lineup, put them in. I think they're going to demolish the Jets.
Just destroy
the Jets.
Oh, I share the same sentiments. Our next matchup on Sunday morning here, we've got the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. And man, this is a much better matchup for the Bears going up against that Lion. But the Lions defense held the Ravens in check. I mean, we did talk about Marquise Brown dropping touchdowns, but it's probably going to be Justin Fields again, and I'm not feeling comfortable starting Justin Fields
or any of the receivers or tight ends.
Or I feel like you probably have to put Allen Robinson in a flex, but I'm questioning whether I do.
Justin Fields played last week, I don't even know if he'll get the yards for it to make it even a decent game.
You probably have to start David Montgomery with the way the running back landscape is right now. Yeah. But Lions side of the ball, Swift, Jamal Williams. I would start Jamal Williams.
TJ Hawkinson for sure.
TJ Hawkinson. And that's probably it.
Yeah.
I don't want to start Jared Goff against the Bears defense. So, moving on.
All right. The next game, we got the Colts and the Dolphins. Colts, a little shaky on offense. I wouldn't press the panic button on Jonathan Taylor yet. I think he could still break out and show those good running back skills we saw last year from him. Michael Pittman seems to be the guy now taking over, but still,
good flex receiver, probably.
Good flex, but if you have a better option, put it there.
Yeah. Especially against the Dolphins secondary here. Naheem Hines. He got a lot of receptions.
They've been going to him a lot, so Naheem Hines, yeah.
For sure.
Dolphins.
It's probably still Jacoby Brissett at quarterback.
So just Gesicki.
I would feel okay putting Gesicki into a tight end spot this week.
Yeah.
Maybe Jalen Waddle as a flex.
He's getting the targets for it, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then depending on your running back situation, Gaskin if you have to.
Yeah.
I guess.
If you have to.
Cleveland Browns taking on the Minnesota Vikings this week. And Browns defense maybe stepping up. Myles Garrett called him out before the game against the Bears because they had not been doing what they were expected to do. But the way the Vikings have been playing, I'm not really scared off any of them. So start Kirk Cousins, start Justin Jefferson, start Adam Thielen. Probably start Tyler Conklin in a tight end spot unless he's your number 2 tight end, I guess.
Yeah.
Alexander Madison, start him up if Dalvin Cook's not playing. But if Dalvin Cook is going to play, you start Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Browns side of the ball, you start both running backs, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I would feel good about starting Baker Mayfield against the Minnesota Vikings defense. Unless you've got a better option there.
He'll get you solid points. I don't think you're going to see anything
I think he's a good streaming option.
Yeah.
Streaming option.
You'll get solid points, but you won't get anything crazy.
Odell looked good last week, so I'm feeling good about starting Odell on a flex spot. And Austin Hooper, tight end dart throw. Wouldn't.
If you're streaming, yeah.
It wouldn't kill me to put Austin Hooper in a lineup.
All right, so the next game we got Washington football team and Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, buddy.
So, Falcon side, Cordarrelle Patterson.
You got to put him in, man.
I
running back 10 and wide receiver 15 on the season. So
I think they're starting to look at Calvin Ridley a little bit more. The first week was pretty rough, but I think you still got to start Calvin Ridley. I think they're going to have to be like, hey, this is the best guy on our team. We need to throw it to this guy.
He's getting the target share. It's just a matter of connecting on those targets and getting him in the end zone.
Other than that, on the Falcon side, Mike Davis has been getting around 12 carries a game, so I think he's very touchdown dependent.
Mm-hmm. If you're desperate for a running back.
Washington side, you got to play Scary Terry.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to play
He
Scary
did
Terry.
not have a great game this last week, but
Logan Thomas has been solid. He's still getting looks from Heineke.
tight end 7 on this, or tight end 6 on the season.
And Antonio Gibson. Falcons don't have a good defense, so I think if Washington gets up on them, it'll be an Antonio Gibson day.
You might be able to stream Taylor Heineke too.
Yeah?
I mean, he's looked fairly decent against the Falcons defense. Could be a good streaming quarterback option, especially in 2 quarterback leagues.
I can definitely see that.
For sure. Oh, man. Another Sunday morning game. We got the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills, and basically start all your Bills. I mean, put Emmanuel Sanders in a flex, Cole Beasley in a flex.
Stephon Diggs,
Dawson
Josh Allen.
Knox. I mean, they could end up blowing out the Texans here.
I mean, how do you feel about
continue to throw the ball?
Starting Devin Singletary or Zach Moss? I feel like they could both have great games.
Start both, and just
We call them touchdown dependent, and this is the team to do it against.
Absolutely. So start all your Bills. Texans side of the ball, Brandon Cooks.
Yep. That's it.
Okay, moving on.
All right, next game we have on is the New York Giants and New Orleans Saints.
Start your Saints defense. Alvin Kamara. You don't sit him on the bench for anything. No.
Giants side of the ball, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He rushes the ball enough. I think you got it. If you're a 2 quarterback league, definitely play him in that second one. He'll get those rushing yards. Hopefully. I mean, the Saints have a pretty good defensive line, so you're a little worried about that. But
if last week was his floor this season, then you're going to feel pretty good about putting him in. 16 points. It's all right.
Saquon Barkley, he's starting to get more looks. I'd play him.
You gotta continue to ride Saquon. It's starting to look like his former self.
Yeah, we're hoping his former self comes back. So start Saquon Barkley.
Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton both banged up this last week. Does that give you more confidence in Kenny Golladay?
Not really, no.
That's sad, man.
Not really. I feel like it should, but it just doesn't. I think like Daniel Jones is just whoever he sees that's open, that's who he's throwing to. I don't think he has a main guy to throw it to. Kenny Galladay's at 50-50 where you throw it up to him and he can get the ball, but if you're not throwing those balls to him, I don't see a lot of points coming out of Kenny.
Galladay in a flex spot or second flex spot at best.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Probably not feeling great about Evan Ingram yet either.
No.
All right, then we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in another Sunday morning game. Your usual suspects for the Chiefs: start Patrick Mahomes, start Travis Kelce, start Tyreek Hill, start Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm staying away unless you just want to take a dart throw, I guess, on the Chiefs, if you've got one of them.
Eagles side of the ball, I'm playing Jalen Hurts. I think he gets those garbage time TDs. I think it's going to be Kansas City's going to start rolling on him, and he's going to have to throw the ball a lot, and he's going to get points.
Garbage time points, man. Are you feeling confident in Miles Sanders? We saw the game script for him after they started getting blown out by the Cowboys, and this could be a repeat performance.
Honestly, yeah, I'd probably be putting him.
I think you have to.
Maybe a flex if you don't have anyone else. Second running back spot, but that worried me. Yeah. We only get 2 rushes.
Dart throw on the receivers here. I guess Jalen Reagor's been the most consistent as far as targets and receptions go. Devonta Smith started the season out hot, but
I think he's still kind of looking his way. He's just...
It's just not connected.
Just not connected.
Do you have to start both tight ends, Goddard and Ertz, in this one? Both were productive in the last game. Ertz got the garbage time touchdown.
That was the garbage time touchdown. I'd start Goddard, Ertz, if you need him. I think he's going to be touchdown dependent, though.
I'm in a couple of 2 tight end leagues where I'll definitely be starting Ertz.
Yeah. If you're 2 tight end leagues, go ahead and start Ertz, but I think he's going to be touchdown. I mean, they looked at him more often than the first 2 weeks, so I mean, maybe building more rapport with Jalen Hurts, and maybe he'll start looking his way more.
It only makes sense, Hurts to Ertz. Like,
It rhymes.
Hurts to Ertz and Goddards. Goodness gracious. Last Sunday morning game, Chance.
Panthers at the Cowboys.
Yeah, buddy.
So, Cowboys, you got to play Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper kind of had down games, but I'm still playing them.
They're plugged in.
I'm still playing them. Dalton Schultz. How do you feel about playing him? You want to ride that hot hand, or?
I'll try to ride the fire if I am streaming and don't have a better option. I would probably play like Austin Hooper over him. I'd probably play Dawson Knox over him.
Yeah. A little bit more reliable. If they get back to their old passing ways, it's going to be a Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb show.
Yeah, and the Panthers' defense has actually been pretty good so far this year. So
Panthers side of the ball, I feel good about putting Sam Darnold in. I know I talked some smack about him earlier, but I mean, he's been a reliable quarterback.
I'm glad you can admit when you're wrong.
I try to. Hey, Carson Palmer was a good quarterback too.
He was for a little while.
Yeah, see? I wasn't completely wrong about him. I just
partially.
A little rough on the comparison.
Right. Yes.
DJ Moore.
Start him up. Especially with McCaffrey out.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah. I'd start him up. For sure. I'd put him in a second running back spot.
Other than that, Robbie Anderson, not seeing much from him, so I'm probably keeping him on my bench until I see something.
I guess you can. Cowboys defense has actually been better too. I was going to say this could be a shootout, but this could actually be a surprisingly defensive game here.
So I'd maybe sit on Robbie Anderson at least another week.
Yeah.
Before I get too reliant on him.
Very nice. Let's move into Sunday afternoon with the Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers. NFC West matchup in this one. And on the Seahawks side of the ball, you got to start Russ. You got to start Chris Carson. You got to start DK Metcalf. And you got to start Tyler Lockett. And probably nobody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. That sounds about every week with the Seahawks.
That's basically, weekly for the Seahawks. 49ers side of the ball.
George Kittle.
Yeah, George Kittle.
The receivers.
You got to start Debo still, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep riding the flames. He had a down week this last week, but he's been hot recently. I mean, wide receiver 9 so far on the season. So,
but they're getting Ayuk more involved.
I think you can now feel comfortable about Ayuk in a flex. I think Shanahan has proven his point, I guess, to Ayuk, and now he's going to start using him again.
Yeah.
Running backs, pay attention to who's injured and who's actually playing. Desperation flex, you could put Trey Sermon in, I guess, if he's the only one there.
Yeah. I just got to pay attention what their running back situation is every week.
If anybody starts coming back, though, like if JaMychal Hasty is back or if Elijah Mitchell is back, then I would probably feel comfortable putting Elijah Mitchell in as a flex.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
If you have any better options than the 49ers running backs, play them.
That is such a mess.
It is such a mess. And you don't know what Kyle Shanahan's going to do. You don't know which guy he's going to put in.
No.
It's pretty much who's healthy. We'll play you until someone else comes back.
Sneaky Jimmy Garoppolo stream against the Seahawks secondary here?
Just because I think they'll have a fairly close game. It might be high scoring between these two since they are such big rivals. Everyone's going to be playing their hardest to beat the other team. So, yeah, I could see Jimmy being a sneaky little value there, getting some yards and possibly a couple touchdowns.
Right on. All right.
Next game, we got another NFC West matchup between the Cardinals and Rams. I think this will be actually a high-scoring game. So, Cardinals side of the ball, start Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins if he's feeling 100%. Christian Kirk. I think you got to ride that hot hand.
Keep riding the flames, man.
Keep riding that hot hand.
Wide receiver 13 on the season.
AJ Green. They've been looking his way. Maybe a flex.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll
Rondale Moore, I feel like they've been trying to get him more involved, but I'd still wait on him for a couple of weeks.
I would stay away from him this week. I felt better about him last week, and I was wrong on that one. Yeah. So
he's just something kind of watch. I think he'll get more involved in the offense later on in the season, but it's just something to watch right now.
Very boom bust.
Rams side of the ball, Cooper Kupp. Start him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start him up. Matthew Stafford. Start him up.
Play him.
Other than that, Tyler Higbee, I put him in. Yeah, Tyler Higbee, tight end spot. Yeah, I feel more comfortable playing Tyler Higbee.
I play Higbee, Darrell Henderson if he's back.
Sony Michel didn't have a terrible game. He just had no touchdowns or just none of those key carries you needed. Just a very average running back day, pretty much. Yeah,
if Darrell Henderson's out, you can probably plug Sony Michel in a running back spot if you need it.
Running back 2 flags.
Yeah, for sure.
Robert Woods, I'm not feeling comfortable with.
Either of the Cardinals running backs. James Conner, Chase Edmonds. I mean, Chase Edmonds is giving you decent flex numbers every week simply off like receiving. He's been right around 10 points each week. So like 7 to 10 points basically.
Yeah.
So if you need about 7 to 10 points, Chase Edmonds.
James Conner, he just seems to be their red zone guy that they plug in. So I mean,
he's a lot like Zach Moss.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I have James Conner on a dynasty in one of our dynasty leagues, and I'm just kind of sitting there watching him. I'm like, all right, you had a good week this week. But there was all touchdowns. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. So
Rams defense will be tough to get around.
They will be very tough. Sure. So I'm definitely playing. Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, I think, are the main guys you got to play on the Rams, and then Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and Kyler Murray. Those are the main must starts
for sure. I'm giving Robert Woods one more week in a flex, and then panic mode after that if it does not pan out.
I agree with you on that one. It's
okay. Then the later Sunday afternoon games, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Green Bay Packers. And man, Steelers side of the ball, you got to start Naji Harris and probably whichever wide receiver is playing.
Deontay Johnson's healthy again. I played Deontay Johnson.
I would play
his first couple weeks were good weeks.
He gets like 11 targets a game, 12 targets a game.
Deontay Johnson if he's healthy, but I mean Chase Claypool's healthy. You can already play Chase Claypool.
Big Ben's probably going to have to throw the ball over 50 times again this game going up against the Packers.
He's going to throw out his shoulder before the end of the year.
Oh yeah, he's already got a messed up pec. So
yeah, so
Juju and Claypool, I'd feel okay as like a high ceiling, low floor flex play. This is a little bit later, so if you're getting thwomped from the morning games and you need somebody that's like, I just need somebody that can just score like 2 big touchdowns, then Claypool for sure. Juju can kind of be thrown in that same boat, but I would not expect as high a ceiling for Juju.
Yeah.
Especially if he's hurt.
So the only ones we're really comfortable with is Najee and
Deontay for sure.
Yeah.
And Claypool, Juju in the flex.
Packers side of the ball, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devonte Adams.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
And you're playing those guys every week, so.
Yeah. Next one.
Ravens and Broncos.
Oh, yeah. Baltimore Ravens taking on my Denver Broncos. Going to be pretty much the first test that the Broncos have really seen this season. So,
see if they're actually worthy of the 3-0 undefeated.
Yeah, hopefully so. Their defense is legit, so hopefully they can contain Lamar Jackson and keep the Ravens in check. I think they are going to have to try to keep up with the Ravens a little bit here. Cortland Sutton, I feel good about Cortland Sutton in a flex spot or a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 spot. Tim Patrick has pretty much caught a touchdown. He caught a touchdown in the first 2 weeks and then was the receiving yards leader. So he and Cortland Sutton, I kind of keep in the same boat there.
I would right now. Yeah, for sure.
Both Broncos running backs, I think you can start, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. They're going to continue to ride those guys. And then Teddy Bridgewater, if you need a streamer there, I do think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more often, and I think we're going to have Teddy a little bit more involved against the Ravens than he was against the Jets. So Teddy, if you need a streamer, especially in 2 QB leagues.
I can see him throwing the ball a lot, so I feel comfortable putting Teddy in this week. Ravens side of the ball, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, wait, Noah Fant.
Noah Fant. Oh, yeah.
Gotta start Noah Fant up, I think. Yeah. But okay, yeah.
Ravens side of the ball now.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson.
Start him.
Ravens running backs?
I'm not feeling good about any of them.
Yeah, me neither.
Against the Broncos here, against that defensive line. Yeah, it looked like maybe it was going to be Tyson Williams, but then they started rotating running backs just like they said they would, and none of them were playable.
So our recommendation, stay away from Ravens running backs.
Yep.
Unless your name's Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Mark Andrews, must start. Doesn't matter what his first 2 weeks look like. You have to start Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, Marquise Brown. I mean, they're giving him the big shot. So, I mean, he hauls him in. He's having big games.
You got to start Marquise Brown there.
It's kind of that. I wouldn't even call it boom or bust because he's getting the targets. It's just he's dropping those key touchdown passes last week that worries me. But at the same time, he's getting those looks. So.
Right. Unless your receiving core looks like my dynasty teams, you are starting Marquise Brown.
But
for sure.
Anyone else you can think of that you feel comfortable starting on the Ravens?
Not really. No, I mean, Devin Duvernay got to look in the end zone. Maybe Sammy Watkins if you're again needing kind of a high ceiling flex play.
I've never been for the past few years, never been a Sammy Watkins player.
I know.
I'd never feel comfortable playing that guy.
He's getting looks. He is getting
he gets his targets and he gets his big games, but it's talk about inconsistency.
Yeah. So tough. I would say stay away, but if you need that high ceiling, low floor flex play, kind of similar to Claypool, then you can maybe plug Sammy Watkins into a second flex spot. Sunday night game here.
Ooh.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New England Patriots return.
Brady and Gronk return to New England.
Oh, man.
Speaking of that, Buccaneers, hammer down.
Play them all.
Brady and Gronk. I think they're going to have huge games.
Play them all.
Chris Godwin, Mike Evans.
Oh, man. This should be a fun one.
I think I think Tom Brady's going to just want to put it down on the Patriots. So.
Yeah, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Just got to play them all.
I think Brady's going to have like a 400-yard plus.
Any of the running backs here? Leonard Fournette?
I do not like playing the Buccaneers running backs.
If you have to play one of them, Leonard Fournette, I guess.
If you have to play one of them, Leonard Fournette, because he's going to be your touchdown guy. But
yeah,
if you have any better options, do not play the Buccaneers running backs.
I don't see the Buccaneers trailing in this one, so Gio Bernard can stay away.
Patriots side of the ball. Feel comfortable with anyone?
Jacoby Myers, like we talked about, the Buccaneers secondary has not been stellar. Patriots probably going to have to keep up here. So Jacoby Myers, I guess.
I'm a big guy on Jonnu Smith, but last week,
yucky,
kind of embarrassed me.
Yucky.
Talking so much about Jonnu Smith, so
bad.
Maybe a bounce back. I would not feel comfortable playing him, though.
No,
I would not feel comfortable playing
him and Hunter Henry. I'm staying away from Damian Harris if you have to, but the Buccaneers are a great run defense.
Yeah. Well, and the Patriots running back, they're still the same. You don't know who to play. Even James White out. I'm sure Bill Belichick's still going to play 3 running backs. So,
yeah.
Jacoby Myers, apparently, is the only one we somewhat recommend.
Yeah. Kendrick Bourne is no go for me. All right.
Next game we have is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Chargers.
The Las Vegas Raiders versus the Chargers, you say? I'm calling a jackpot matchup for the week.
Yes. High scoring.
AFC West division rivals here, and we talked all about Justin Herbert, Derek Carr when we were talking about positional leaders, what the Raiders have been doing, what the Chargers have been doing. This is going to be a high-scoring, primetime, Monday Night Football, lighted-up matchup.
Chargers, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen.
Do it. Do you go...
Jared Cook? I mean, he might get his looks in this game with it possibly a high-scoring matchup.
Good tight end streamer. Yep, I'd go for it. I would go for it.
And the Raiders, Derek Carr.
Yup.
Going to be putting it up. Josh Jacobs, if he's healthy.
Yes. If not, Peyton Barber.
Yeah.
The Chargers do not have a good rushing defense. So if Josh Jacobs isn't playing, then I'm starting Peyton Barber.
Yes.
For sugure. Brian Edwards. I'd feel good about putting Brian Edwards on a flex. Actually, pretty much any of those.
Henry Ruggs, Brian Edwards, Hunter Renfrow. I feel good about playing any of them in the flex.
Renfrow has the highest floor, probably lowest ceiling in my eyes. Henry Ruggs probably has the highest ceiling, lowest floor. And Brian Edwards, just kind of middling on all those.
I agree with that.
So then Darren Waller, obviously.
You play Darren Waller.
So this should be a good one. Jackpot matchup of the week. Make sure you get you a piece of that.
Yes, sir.
And that does it for the Week 4 preview. Chance, we hit right about the same time we typically hit on these episodes, so we're doing good.
Nice.
We covered the positional leaders in depth, though, and I enjoyed doing that, kind of going over who was where and what the landscape was looking like thus far. You can follow us on social medias at Chairman Fantasy, at Find FF Leagues, and at Fantasy Squatch. Rate, review, listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, Chance, let's get out of here and go record a League Note episode.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right. Good luck. Week 4. Hope you win. Unless you're playing against me, then I hope you lose.
See you guys later.
Hey, Alex.
What?
So when you're on a boat and you're on like a rocky ocean, and you're drifting out to sea, what's the best way to keep your boat like sturdy and just staying still?
Oars?
No, not even close. You throw out your anchor.
Oh, your anchor. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You throw out your anchor. You know what I like to do to keep my podcast steady and just sturdy while everything else seems to be rocky and wavy around me?
Not oars, right?
Not oars. It's Anchor again.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Anchor.fm. Let me explain. This app is free, completely free to host your podcast on.
Like 100% free?
100% free. And you get unlimited storage for all your episodes.
Unlimited?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
As Russell Wilson would say.
Yes.
That's right. It's also got creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
Well, I'm all about that.
I know. And it also distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on the likes of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them.
What's not to like?
It's great. You can even make money from your podcast, Alex.
And we're all about that.
And you don't need minimum listenership. So,
that's
good. That's a real good thing. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You need to download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I'm getting right on it right now.
Keep your boat and your podcast sturdy.